Hey, y'all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Thomas.
Aloha, everybody. Back.
Yes, you are back. We have Memorial Weekend. We're in the middle of it right now. What have you been doing? You doing anything with the family? It's a good time to go hang out with the family.
Not at all, because they're in San Francisco.
So you've been enjoying the house to yourself.
I wish. My wife gave me a laundry list, literally, of like stuff to do. So I've been trying to knock it out. And so personal challenge this year, I was like, I want to like try to do something hard. And so I, out of nowhere, signed up for a half marathon. And
That's awesome.
that's next weekend. And so tomorrow,
oh my God, it's like right here. Holy cow, that
it's
scared me
here.
almost.
Yeah. So tomorrow, this is so stupid. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm supposed to do 12 miles. So yeah, it's going to be really shitty. So I'm going to try to do that tomorrow. So it's not the funnest.
I got friends that are like, hey, you want to go hang out at this place? And it's 12 miles away. I'm like, I don't want to drive there. I mean, it's too far. And you're about to run it.
Running is generous, dude. I'm probably going to walk. Like, the goal is just to finish. So, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Like, Claude made me a, running program that I've been following for like, almost 3 months now. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I am terrified.
Have you made the move to Claude over from ChatGPT?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yep.
Literally right there on my other screen. Just because I was like, organize my insane thoughts, please. And so it's been doing that for me. I appreciate it.
You're not selling all my information to the government. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that was the move, right? It's like, I'm such a bleeding heart liberal that I got to follow the trends.
Yeah, for sure.
So this weekend I was able to camp with a family for a little bit, which was nice.
Nice.
It's called Jellystone around here. It's all Yogi Bear themed.
Jellystone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because it's Yogi. Okay.
Yeah, it's all Yogi Bear theme, and so like the nephews and nieces are out there, and they got a Yogi Bear that rides around on a golf cart. That's real. They got a good sized water park there, so it was just nice to hang out with the family and stuff like that. So
that's super cool.
It's been,
I love that.
After like back to back conventions, you're like, I need a thing. I need to be outside.
Yeah. Like literally, it's one of those moments where it's like touch grass. You see that diss online or whatever, and it's like sometimes you actually need to just touch grass or at least see it.
And I'm literally and poor distance nerding guys. So I'm literally there, like I'm like basking in the sun, trying to get some sun finally, in the lawn chair, and then I got distance nerdy text me like panicked because they're at Gem State in Ohio and like things are falling apart or whatever. It's the chaos of a convention. And I'm like, y'all, I'm removed. I brought the laptop and was able to help with a few things, but it was like,
out of office.
Yes. Sorry, but I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
Oh man. So let's go ahead and today's gonna be a real easy episode for you guys. Today we're gonna be reviewing The Boys, we're reviewing Mandalorian and Grogu. And we got the interview that I've been shooting for years, literally. Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. We're going to be talking about Avatar. We're going to be talking about Mando because we recorded a month and a half ago. And he told me to my face. I asked him, are you a Mandalorian and Grogu? Oh, I can't tell you. Yada, yada. Someone was reposting a bunch of Mando stuff, so I knew he was in it.
Oh, man. Hey, you did your job. You asked, and, you can't pressure him. So, hey, you did your job.
Yeah. What an absolute delight that guy was. I mean, and literally I've been like redecorating my room based off of his shelves, so I just showed you that. But he was an absolute delight. Exactly who you want to talk about. So we'll get into that in a minute. All right, we're going to be starting off with our first review. Is going to be for The Boys series finale. What is your gut reaction after this finish? Because I know there's a lot leaning in on this finale. What was your gut reaction?
Yeah, my gut reaction... Surprising. I didn't think this was gonna be a hot take, but I liked it.
Dude, why is it a hot take? I agree with you. I was like, that's exactly what I would want to happen.
People were so mad everywhere. Like if you go on Reddit, everybody is destroying it. And I get it. Like when they bring up good points. I'm not saying that they're idiots or I'm not even saying that they're wrong, but it's like, but how else could a Homelander have gone out? Like it had to be Butcher versus Homelander. It had to come down to it. I liked it. I thought everybody got a pretty satisfying conclusion. It was to your point. You made a great video talking about how it was a little bit more positive than some other, shows out
What a
there.
surprise! Yeah,
Dude, I thought it was great. Like I enjoyed it. Well, yeah, I saw your
I,
thoughts,
I,
but
I
tell me
thought, yeah.
more.
Well, I think of this. I'm gonna pick a negative just so that we have them on the field. I believe Kimiko getting the powers was a little too fast. I do like that they established those powers early on through
Mhm.
Soldier Boy, not Winter Soldier, by the way. Thank you, comments. Soldier Boy,
Right? Yeah, yeah.
and so that those powers were out there, and it was all about giving Kimiko those same powers. I felt like that was a little bit too fast for her to get them,
So,
but
so for sure,
it's good.
yeah. I think just because we can like a finale too, we can still be critical of it.
Of
And
course,
you're 100% right on that. Yeah, when I saw it pop up in a comment section, I was like, that is true. Like it did feel like a MacGuffin, right? Where it
yeah,
was like, we need some way to stop the powers of Homelander. Oh, let's bring in Kimiko, and
yeah,
you're like, I guess. And it was a cool way to like bring her into the fight, but it did just feel like such a quick fix, like a what do they call it, like a Deus Ex Machina, where it was like, here's
exactly,
the
yeah.
magic fix.
Yeah.
So it did feel like that.
Kripke's been kind of, I mean, ever since the premiere of this final season, telling people, you guys are probably not going to like the finale. What about the
Hmm.
finale do you think he was predicting people wouldn't like?
That's a good question. I think he was probably predicting the politics of it all, because I also noticed that
Yeah,
a very there is a political lean as to the criticisms and the likes. And I
yeah.
noticed this.
I mean, MAGA tends to dislike the show because clearly it mirrors. But by the way, it was written 2 years ago, so you tell me what's the
That's
problem.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah,
it's not like it totally is a live action South Park. They predicted this.
yeah,
It's not like he was directly, I mean, there is direct references, but some of these references were accidental because they were written so far in the past.
yeah. And they were even joking around on set. They were like, what, like the whole like religious thing. They were like, no way did he just post that. The episode's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They were joking about that, so it's good stuff.
So that was so amazing. I that shows you how like tuned in they were to like actual world events and politics,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. They had their like, what is it, nose or thumb on the
Scale? That
trick,
can't be right.
whatever the saying is. Completely botched that one. Anyways, they
That's
were
right.
like
We're recording
right
late.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were right there with like what was going to happen, and I
Yeah.
think that's amazing. I probably think it was more of the politics of it all, but for people who didn't read the comic, and I was pretty tuned into like what was going to happen and stuff. The fact that Butcher has a heel turn towards evil, I think that could also
Oh, that's a
have
great
pissed
point.
off a lot of people, But like for comic book fans, you kind of knew it was coming, because
Yeah. I
yeah.
avoided as much as I could for the comic. Did you try to stay up to date with the comic? I tried to avoid
I
those
tried to
comics.
avoid it too, but that
Yeah.
was one of those
Yeah.
things that like it just popped up and I was like, all right, well, I'm already watching this YouTube video. So
Those the damn TikTok explainer videos, they get me right away. They're like, this is why Black Noir is really crazy in the last season. Like, okay, I'm in. And then
yeah,
but they didn't do that
yeah,
whole Black
yeah.
Noir reveal.
Dude, the hooks are getting good out there, man.
The hooks
These
are getting good. Teach me the ways, young masters. But so yeah, I
Yeah.
thought his turn I thought was actually very warranted because I kind of assumed the entire point was the two are mirroring each other.
Right.
Homelander is butchered, vice versa, and it's just that there's a few things. And then again, I'm saying again because I said it's already on TikTok, but the point is Huey affected Butcher just enough for him to delay that 1 second, which gave Huey the shot off. And I
Yeah.
thought like that shows that of the two of them, he is a gooder guy.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
was the
yeah.
influence of the boys and of Huey on him that gave him that little bit of a pause to reflect on his brother. I thought that was really well done.
Absolutely. I love that scene. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah, I mean, you perfectly said it, right? Like Homelander, there was somebody else out there, I don't know who it is, but they came up with this. But basically, it was the more that they became isolated, the worse people got. So Homelander,
Yes.
the more he killed people in the seven, the more he isolated himself from everybody else, the crazier and worse he got. And then
Right.
there's, same thing with Annie. She can't, deal with it. She wants to leave Huey. Her whole life starts falling apart. The more she starts reaching for a connection, whether it's with her dad or back with the boys or back with Huey, the better she gets, like the more sane she gets. We'll
Right.
have to talk about the Gen V of it all because that was a little,
That was
that kind of
disappointing.
detours this a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's a writing thing. I don't necessarily think that has to do with her character.
Right.
And then the same thing with like MM. The same thing with like Kimiko. They, the more that they kind of leaned on each other, the better they
Right.
were. And that, to your point, eventually affects Butcher so much that he is able to stop for 1 sec. Because you could have just pressed the button before Huey even got there.
Oh,
He
of
could have
course. Yeah.
he could have Ozymandias the whole thing like
Right.
Watchmen, and then Huey could have showed up and everybody could have been dead already.
Yeah.
But he, he wanted Huey, I think, to stop him, and he wanted to have that canary in the mine say, "Hey, are you
Love
sure
that.
you want to do this?" And yeah, so I thought that scene was great.
And if we look at the thing that broke that camel's back, the straw that broke the camel's back was the dog dying. And I think that's the part where
Mm,
you're saying, pushes him towards isolation. He had been
yeah,
accepted, and everything's like mother's milk. Even like the actor was even saying, like, I basically was playing the character fresh again because this time he was all go. But like everybody was patching things up. But then when his dog died, it pushed him back the other direction for just for a second, for enough for him to go grab that vial and head off.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, that was his last true connection to Becca, right? Like
yeah,
he Homelander's dead, which that solves that problem. Then Ryan is like, listen, I don't like Homelander. I know, yeah, I had to stop him, but I also don't want to be with you. You're not a great guy either. I have to go do my
yeah,
own thing. So now Ryan's gone. Mallory's dead. Like so the only person being left was Tara. And once Tara was gone, it was like, yeah, there
Tara, I was
was
looking at that
nothing.
name. Yeah,
Yeah, so good. It's perfect. It perfectly fits that
it
dog
is.
too.
Yeah,
But so sad. I
yeah.
figured that messed me up. Uh yeah, and I last thing I want to say about that scene though is Huey fighting back. Because
Hmm.
even he's like talking trash to Huey, like, you're not the guy, you can't do it. But this whole show is that Huey has become that guy. He's not
Exactly.
he's not MM, he's not Frenchie, he's definitely not Butcher, he's not at their level. But man, does he pull his own weight, and he's more and more and more has he gotten in the thick of it with them. And
Yeah.
I think that last fight was perfect. It's like Huey has more fighting capability than a powered down Homelander, and I think that speaks volumes as to like their characters.
Let's talk about Power Down Homelander because that was another complaint I saw a bunch out there. I like that we're just addressing complaints. This is a good way to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
People were saying that Homelander was too weak after he lost his powers and that he was a little bitch. I'm like, that's 100% the point. Without
Yes.
his powers, he's a little bitch. He drinks breast milk the whole time. He's like, Mama, every time he sees her,
Right.
this guy is definitely a wuss. The idea is that when he has a bunch of power, he feels strong, and that's the only thing protecting him. And so the fact that he was like immediately, on his knees asking for his survival, I really wish Butcher just grabbed that crowbar and went to town the entire time. I don't, why punch him? Grab that crowbar and go. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the point.
No, it 100% was. Yeah, I don't know if you saw. I did a post about it because I saw so many people complaining about that too. They're like, he should have been able to fight better. He should have, at least not been like such a whoosh. He like the I'll suck your thing and like I'll eat it thing. Like, people are like, he would never do that. And I'm like, yes, he absolutely
Yes.
would. Like the posts I made, and like every once in a while I'll have one that just like takes off, and this was one of them. And yeah, not to just like quote something I read online, but I don't think I could say it better, so I will kind of
Yeah,
just
it's
read it.
good.
But he's like, so somebody was like, yeah, like he didn't even put up a good fight. What was that? And then this is what I said. I said, I'm blown away because I'm blown away by the fact that people don't understand this. The only thing that made Homelander so cocky, confident, and able to fight was his powers. When those were stripped away, he no longer could act like the same person. He was always this guy underneath the facade of superiority. Just like a millionaire who loses everything wouldn't act like the same person. Like if
Exactly.
you all of a sudden had all this money, you lost it all, you're not going to come back and be like, I'm Mr. Big Shot. Yeah,
Right.
let me into the country club. Your whole vibe, demeanor, everything, the thing that gives you power, and literally for Homelander, it was power, is
Right.
gone. He's not
Yeah.
that guy. The true self is now shown.
And that's how authoritarianism works, where you have a figure, a lot of people around them will prop that figure up just so they have something to take all the bullets for them.
Mhm.
But yeah, once that person's gone, once that facade is gone, then you have the shell of the man that's just being propped up. And I
Mhm.
thought that they did a really good job. I think Kripke did a hell of a good job with that finale, especially for Homelander. I know that was the big, what's going to happen with Homelander.
Yeah, and I mean that scene too, like people can talk trash, whatever, but so well acted. Like
Yeah,
Anthony Starr, I saw so many people. There
yeah,
was the people that were like worst, like villains who fell off. Like at the end, they had him, Vecna, the Night King from Game of Thrones. But I'm like, Homelander should not
right.
be in this category. Like he Granted, the way he lost his powers was a little weak through Kimiko,
Fair. Yeah.
but the way he acted after his powers was gone, and then the way he got killed was, oh man, I love that scene because it's like that was what I've been waiting for 5 seasons. Like I wanted this guy to get his comeuppance. Granted, I wish Butcher kind of tortured him a little bit more. It
A
sounds
little
messed
bit
up on my
more.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he needed a little bit more. Bolton, Ramsey Bolton, remember that? Where
Yes.
like
Oh,
Sansa
what a
goes,
finish.
oh man.
That might be the best villain takedown on TV with the dogs.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Sansa doing it. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
right
but I
there.
would give this like I don't know what's next, but I would give this in the top 5. Like I really enjoyed it. Again, I just wish he got a little
Yeah.
bit more at him.
Totally well earned on him though. One of the things I want to bring up is I think a lot of this show is based around the relationships between say Huey and Starlighter, but I really think Frenchie and Kimiko was such a good relationship. And especially this last season when they were kind of this little balance of like, oh, I want to have a family and everything like that. And then Frenchie's like, I want to go to raves and I want to have a party and be in a different city every night.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
totally different opposite ideas. But then Frenchie, and it sucks. We watch way too many TV shows and movies. As soon as Frenchie's like, I'll do what you want to do, it's like, oh, he's gonna die. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
good.
I
But
know.
that empowering Kimiko, and then at that last moment too, like the ghost of Frenchie popping up, I really like that relationship, and I felt like it was so real. I felt like that felt like it was good chemistry just beyond the actual screen.
Absolutely. It was one of my favorite romances that's ever developed in a show. That,
Yeah,
like I don't watch a lot of romance shows, but I mean that one was like, God, this is like, man, you kids, I hope they can figure it out.
I
Even they're
know.
both like genocidal murderers. But
Yeah,
like they felt like they deserved a second chance. At least their characters did. I know I
mhm,
don't want to get into the real life stuff, but I think that scene for me was so well done because I think the subtle hero in it, which is funny, forget the terrible puns, is Karen Fukuhara because like the way she's kind of crying throughout the episode, the way she has to go back to being mute and using sign language, like she's so distraught she can't talk
what a good
again.
storytelling tool that is, by the way, the ability to speak. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I thought, and just like when she's standing by the grave, at the beginning of the episode, there's just like so much emotion there. It really feels like they love each other
yeah,
and that they discovered something in each other or allowed each other to be who they wanted to be. That was,
yeah.
yeah, well done. Super well
One of
done.
my favorite shots of the final episode was that of Kimiko standing next to the grave, and like the dirt would almost echo with her power that's just kind of surging inside of her.
Mm.
And I just thought like that first off shows just this like rage that's just barely being bound, but also the fact that it's being almost like echoed through and from the dirt means Frenchie's a
Mm.
part of it too in a way, It's like almost this thing is just like I could feel him and it's just making me stronger. And it's like, oh my God,
Wow.
she's such a cool character. I really love her. Yeah.
I like that. I think that's a great depiction. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
Did you see a trailer for Vault Rising already?
I did. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I think it
I'm
looks
a
pretty
sucker for when
good.
it's like set in the 50s. I'm a sucker for that. It's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I think somebody also, I know who said this, like Screen Crush also said it might be a backdoor um season 6 of The Boys in a sense.
Yeah.
Because they're like, there's only so many seasons they can do in the past before it catches up to the present. And there's a interesting thing that they noted, which is at the end of The Boys, Ryan goes with Mother's Milk. He's seemingly like adopted by Mother's
I
Milk.
loved that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Ryan is obviously the son of Homelander, but also the grandson of Soldier Boy, and who killed Mother's Milk's dad and ruined his family, Soldier Boy. So there's
Yeah.
a way that they can bring them in, whether it's at the end of this season or season 2 or even season 3. So I'd be down for that. I think that'd be cool.
And I assume there's gonna be something just because we have to figure out how the heck Soldier Boy's gonna die. He's still frozen last I saw. So he's
Right.
still at play. And I'm like, that's a huge plot hole that you guys left on out there. Let's figure that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. But unless they're keeping it just for later seasons of VOT Rising, like then
That's
it
what I'm
becomes,
assuming.
yeah, the boys, it's like VOT Rising season 2 or 3 / the boys season 6, which would kind of
Yeah.
be dope. I'd
I'd
be
be
into that.
I'm more freaking the boys. I'm down for that.
Mm.
So looking at these series as a whole, 2019 to now, is there any big takeaways you have from this series as a whole? And then I want to get your score out of 10 for it too.
Any big takeaways? That's a good one. Man, Anthony Starr is a legend.
Yeah,
I hope he doesn't get typecasted as just like a psychotic villain though. I mean, just for him, his sake.
That being said, I want him to play Dracula in Marvel. So
Ooh,
go for it.
yeah, that'd be great. I know people are like fan casting him in DC. I can't remember who, but I definitely want to see him in more things. He is a legend, along with Carl Urban. Like Carl Urban's been around the block for decades. But I think this was, I gotta say, this might be my favorite character of his period. You know, I think Butcher is just was a standout too. Was just
Yeah.
so damn good. Like every scene that they were in was magnetic. Huey, Jack Quaid, you know, getting his shot. Now we have Jack Quaid as like a superstar. I love Jack Quaid just as like a human being, but like,
Yeah.
you know, as his character too, like Huey had so much development. It was always like the nerdy guy who wasn't meant to like, you know, who always got looked down on or people didn't care about them. And then all of a sudden, you know, through the right situations, like all their geeky knowledge, now it makes them a badass and they, you know, get to be a superstar at the end. And yeah, so God, yeah, just this cast. What a phenomenal cast.
Yeah. What are you thinking out of 10? What's your score?
For the series or finale?
Let's actually, you know what? I want for both, actually. Yeah, now that you said it. Yeah.
Okay, so finale, I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. I really no,
Okay.
at the time I felt like really good about it. At the time I probably would have said 9. I probably settled into like an 8.5, 8.5, I'd say.
Yeah. That's a good spot. And then for a series, what are you thinking?
Series, man, oh dang, lights out.
That's okay.
The yeah, dramatic effect. Series. God, it started
Now we gotta
so
know
strong.
that series score is so important because we got the lighting for it.
Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of how it felt about Stranger Things, man. Like, Stranger, like I felt like this hole in my heart after it was done. I really felt like, damn,
That's a
it's
good way to
over.
put it. Yeah. I got
You
that with
know?
Invincible as well. It's like, man, I really missed waiting for next Tuesday, you know?
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, we're getting another Invincible. It's like knowing we're not gonna get another Boys with this
Yeah.
cast. It just feels like, and the same thing with Stranger Things. Whether you like the finale or not doesn't really matter. It's just like, damn, that sucks. We're never gonna see them all together in like a thing. So I felt like that. I gotta give it, man. God, that's so hard. No, screw it. I'm just gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Yep.
I love the Boys. I love the Boys.
Well, I'll come out and just say I got those exact scores as well. I have
Oh,
an 8 out of 10.
nice.
I do. Exact
Heck
ones.
yeah.
8 out of 10 for the finale, 9 out of 10 for this series. It's not a 10 out of 10 because there are definitely some low point. There are definitely some seasons that were like, you know, good but not
100%.
great. You
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah. And
boy,
it
when it
wasn't
hit,
perfect.
it hit hard, man. It really did a good job.
So well said. Absolutely.
And oh, by the way, I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 crowbars. That'll be the thing we do for this one.
Okay.
It's something that we're at. And then my big takeaway from this too is I love that they built this world of cynicism and just like if it can go bad, it will go bad, and nothing can be innocent, nothing can just be okay. And then the very final note that Kripke left us with is like, actually, it can be. It actually
Yeah.
can be. You stick together, you fight through it, you believe in yourself, and you stick to
Mhm.
yourself, and you help those around you, and yeah, the good guys can just straight up win. And it's like, wow, I did think that was something that Kripke wanted to tell us.
Yeah.
And if we're looking at all the negatives from the political side of thing, I think that was the positive of the political side of thing. Like what I took away from the political message is like, we could get through this all together if we
Yeah.
work together and believe in what we know is right. And that just was like when I saw Huey at the end, just kind of like running his dad's shop. I was like, that's just so cool.
I
So
know.
I
Yeah, that
was
was
really happy
cool.
with that. And then I like how it's like Starletter's like doing the old school superhero thing where like, oh, there's a call at this certain area. Let's go fly over there. So that was really
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
was happy with it.
Yeah, I think the ending with Starlight and Huey was amazing because it was
Yeah.
such a nice bookend, right? Like they both
Mhm.
step on the curb. What starts the whole thing is him and Robin step on the curb. She gets murked. Well, how it ends is him and Starlight walk on the curb, and now she's gonna go be a hero just because she wants to be a hero, not because some organization is telling her to
Right.
be a hero. And it's and he's got a future generation on the way that he's
Yeah.
like honoring his past love. I thought it was great. I was like, hell
I
yeah,
agree.
this is awesome.
By the way, yes, Starlight, not Starlighter, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
The amount
yeah.
of times I throw a random S or ER or something,
Well,
and
yeah,
then I gotta
yeah.
see it in the comments, or
I
I'm
felt like
hating
you were
myself.
like throwing in Lamplighter with Starlight, you know?
Yeah, that's
Remember
right. Lamplighter. Yeah.
Lamplighter?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
who was he played it was like Iceman from the old X-Men movies.
Yeah, don't tell any of my D&D players that, because that's the secure, or no, that's the Rebel Force are called Lamplighters, and I didn't realize where I got the name from, and then I realized where I got the name from. I'm like, shit, don't tell them.
Oh, don't listen
So
to
they
this
don't know.
episode, guys.
Fallout Season 2 is now available on 4K Ultra HD and DVD. Based on the iconic video game series, bring home the action-packed post-apocalyptic thriller starring Walton Goggins, Ella Pummel, and Aaron Moten. In Season 2, our odd trio ventures across the wasteland in search of the ruins of New Vegas. Own Fallout Season 2 on 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray now. Let's move over to The Mandalorian and Grogu. Star Wars is back in theaters. It's been since 2019, the start of the boys, since we had a Star Wars in theaters. That feels crazy to say.
That does feel crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind.
You're right. My gut reaction to this thing is, man, it was really cool to see some good old space battles on screen. The Mandalorian in that armor, Din Djarin in that armor always looks good. And I really feel like the puppetry that was brought into this was elevated from the series, because I think that there's sometimes when they want to make sure to use practical effects in The Mandalorian. There are times when it feels a little bit underwhelming, but they took the right amount of time to add some CGI to this to make it feel better, to where the puppets were assisted by CGI. And in the end, was this movie great? No. And it's nothing to like write home about. I think the story was incredibly predictable, but I had a lot of fun, and it was just good to see Star Wars again. And it reminded me that of back when I used to take my nephew to Star Wars movies. Actually, the last one I took him to was Rogue One. Poor kid.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was like, at the time, maybe 6. And one of the X-Wings like crashes into the shield and blows up. And he's like, he looks at me in the theater. He's like, did that guy die? I'm like, oh no. Yes, he did. I'm sorry.
Dang. Yeah. It's forcing some tough conversations here.
Right. I'm like, let's pay attention though. And then, of course, if you guys know how Rogue One ends, they all die.
Yeah,
So it's not great.
Shoot, you should start off with like Revenge of the Sith or something then. You might as well just start with like the hardest one to watch. Be like, we're going to start with Andor. You know?
Right. But it reminded me that like these movies were made for kids at first. And so this movie, I think, for the younger generation is going to be a fan favorite, especially Grogu.
100%. You nailed it. So for me, I said this was like the Fast and Furious of Star Wars movies for me.
I like that.
You know, it was like so much action. I actually did like it too. But but to what you said, it's not a great movie. There's not really much of a plot. Like the plot is so paper thin, you know, you would like tear it by writing on it. There's no character development. Like Mando at the beginning and Mando at the end doesn't change. And all the moments that might have felt like character development, we've already gotten in previous seasons. Like we've already gotten
100% right.
Yeah, we already got like in season 3 when he dips in the waters to like redeem himself because he has his helmet taken off. It's like there was a moment for me too. I'm like, isn't he over that? Like, isn't he over the fact that people can see his face? Like, he already like atoned for it one time. Who cares? You know what I mean? And he's already met a bunch of other Mandalorians. With that being said, I did like it. I actually enjoyed it. I thought the action was incredible. I thought that it brought like it's like a cool time in the galaxy. Meaning like I like that it's kind of after the original trilogy. It's before the sequel trilogy. And yeah, it's this time of like the Republic's trying to figure it out. They don't have as much power as the Empire did because they don't have as much reach as the Empire did. It was just like, I don't know. It's like almost unexplainable why I like this movie, but I do, even though there's so many things I would normally rag on other movies for. You know?
I feel like the time between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens is the old west of Star Wars. You have cowboys out there catching bandits that used to be part of the Empire. The Republic feels very much like a, young America trying to further themselves into the West, try to establish what law even looks like. I think that this is a really good area to start creating stories because the stakes can be so high while the stories can be so low. We could follow Mando trying to take out a couple huts, and it feels low, but then also like the ramifications of that is like, oh, who's the crime lord in this area now? And I think that's one of the really nice things about setting things in this timeline, and I hope they keep doing that. I hope we get more Mando stories. Let's not make this the end.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely needs to continue on. Yeah, I just kind of wish they found some way to give him a little bit more of an arc. Like, what did he learn
Yep.
at the beginning of the movie? And what did he learn at the end? Like, there was nothing. Like, he already knew
Nothing.
he loved Grogu. You already knew that we already knew as an audience he would risk his life for him. We've already seen
Mhm.
him do it a couple times. We've seen him sacrifice his own misery to give Grogu a better life. Like, we already know all that stuff. So for me, it
Yep.
was like, all right, what did Grogu even learn? I mean, he already gave up this path to being a Jedi, and he's put his life on the line for Mando a bunch of times. So I just kind of wish there was something that it had something new to say about these characters, you know?
I want to give a counterpoint to that. I think one of the things that it wanted to address that I feel like is something the fans talk about, but the show didn't explain.
Yeah.
Grogu's gonna outlive Mando by a good chunk, and so
Mhm.
he won't always be there to protect him. And I think some of what this movie was trying to do was try to, because in the beginning, I think the growing up moment is that like Grogu couldn't touch any of the buttons on the ship. At the end, Grogu, this is how you turn this on. So there's
That's
this kind of
true.
like, I need you to become a whole person before I die. I can't be here forever with you. And to me, that's where the movie really fell apart. Because I was like, you are
Mm.
so close to setting something up where you make Rada the new leader of the Hutts. Rada lives as long as Grogu. They even mentioned that in the movie. Why not
Oh.
have it to where I'll make you the leader of the Hutts? You make sure Grogu's safe for the rest of his life. So if they ever do a future Star Wars movie, you have a Jedi
Damn.
Mandalorian hybrid who works with the crime bosses. That's
I
dope.
Damn it. That's so cool. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I didn't catch that. That would have been so cool. It's like right there. And
It's
I
right
didn't
there.
even I didn't even mind the Jeremy Allen White. I didn't mind the buff hut even. Like I
I
didn't
like the buff hut.
I know some people hated it. I'm like, how? Like it's unique and he's in a fighting, but he's a gladiator, He's not
Yeah.
like the rest of them. So, yeah, but damn, that would have been so good. You're so right about that though. I need to trust you to be an adult in case I get left, I'm not here to protect you. I need to know that you can take care of yourself. I think they could have delivered that message stronger though. There still
Agreed.
could have been more Mando saying like, you know, grow like there should have been dialogue there. Like, granted, I get it. The analogy is like, you couldn't touch the buttons. Now you can touch the buttons because I trust you.
Right.
I get that, but there should have been something like, you really showed me something different here, Grogu, and I'm always here. I'm always going to be here for you. But when I'm not here for you, I know that you'll be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
God, just give us one or two lines like that, because it's so close. But you're right. Like I didn't get that at all.
Yeah. It is because it was too subtle. But you brought up something I really want to mention. When they cast Jeremy Allen White, I was excited for this because The
Mm.
Bear has been very good. I haven't finished last season because that one wasn't, but it
Yeah,
has been
yeah,
good
that
in the
last season
past.
was not good. Yeah.
Iron Claw, fantastic. Matter of fact, after this movie, and everyone's
Mm.
like, "Man, he didn't do a good job." I'm like, "Go watch Iron Claw. He does good in that one." Um,
Yeah.
but man, he played this thing so flat, and it was so distracting. And I'm like, "You got such a cool character like Rod of the Hutt, the wrestling, boxing Hut,
Yeah.
and you put
Yeah.
this flat voice behind it, and you modulated his voice so much it really didn't need to be Jeremy Allen White. It could have been
That's
anybody."
true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. I
I
did
thought
think
it was
about
a
that
disappointment.
too. Yeah, it was like you're right. It could have been anybody. I'm like, man, that barely sounds like Jeremy Allen White. And he has such a monotone delivery, and he has such like a direct delivery
Yeah.
that you have to like see him to like get the performance out, right?
Mhm.
And the fact that he's a CGI character and like they kind of have the same eyes, yada yada, but it's like you kind of want somebody who's more expressive, I think, in that role. So
Yeah.
it was I don't think that was a great casting choice, even though I love Jeremy Allen White. But yeah, I think that was such a weird choice. Also, like, I think it was a unique idea bringing in Rada. Like, right, we first meet Rada from the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
and it's this like
Little
very,
baby.
yeah, little baby hut. And I thought that was a unique way to like tie everything back into itself, I guess. And yeah, it just misses on some notes. It's like
Yeah.
what a yeah, it didn't hit.
To me, that's the worst part of it all. Is I think with Jeremy's performance is Rada itself is a fantastic character. I like to be an heir to the throne and to want freedom and to have to take out your aunt and uncle, like they're and always living in the
Mhm,
shadow of Jabba the Hutt, like of all villains. And
mhm.
like what an interesting character. Right away in my note, I'm sitting there writing like halfway in the dark at night, or in the theater. Poor guys next to me with my light going, looking at my notes. But anyways, I was like, this is a D&D boss. I will put this in a D&D campaign somewhere. This like strong hut, like that's such a good thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And it's just like, man, the performance is lacking. His ending is nothing. He has no ending except for he's just gonna like join. Zeb says he has a jacket for him. Come on, what the hell's that? Give me
Yeah, I
something
know.
more than that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that was weird. Yeah, see, there's the things, some things just like it felt so flat, and so I've seen so many interviews now. Yeah, I don't know, I've seen a handful of interviews, I should say, where it is Dave Filoni and it is Jon Favreau talking about this movie, and I'm so happy Jon Favreau got to direct a Star Wars movie that his dad
yeah,
got to see and whatever. That's like dope, but they can't tell me that this wasn't season 4 of Mandalorian. Like this felt like 4 to 5 episodes just
right there.
stitched together. And like
Yep.
there's just no way that it wasn't, because there's no like all these like inconsistencies. And another complaint for this movie has been the pacing. And I gotta admit,
Yeah.
like again, as somebody who enjoyed this, I did kind of start like falling a little bit of sleep when it was just Grogu. Granted, it was
Squish
really
did too. He
sweet.
said the exact same thing. He started falling asleep during this thing.
Yeah, and it's sweet. Like I love it. He's like, I gotta take care of, my dad, and he is becoming an adult in this moment and stuff. But man, I got like really sleepy. It was like, all right, I get it. Like he's taking care of Mando, cool. And
Mhm.
I think that by itself in an episode would have been awesome. Like I think
Yeah.
when I was just set up for
The
that
Grogu
mood,
episode, right? Could you imagine it? Like we be talking about it. This is the
mhm,
Grogu episode. Yeah.
yeah, you got what we got in the show, and you add on like 10 more minutes of Grogu discovering things, or him talking to the guy that's sitting on the bay, the alligator guy. You
Another
know,
really interesting character that I was like, that guy's more interesting than Rada.
Yeah, yeah,
His
yeah.
performance was really good.
It was super good, and it was the dude.
Scorsese. Oh, I'm sorry, Martin Scorsese's little fry chef. That dude was awesome.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah. It was funny. And someone pointed this out again, not me, but it was like he still has Scorsese's eyebrows, even
Yes.
as like that
They did the same thing on
forearm
Shark Tank
monkey.
too. The Shark Tale. The fish has big
Jabu.
eyebrows too. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's hilarious. But yeah, yeah, it's just like, dang it, man. Like it's all the pieces are there, but they're just kind of like left to dangle. They're
Yeah.
not like connecting the way they should. And I only feel like it just reminds me of like it's almost the reverse Marvel problem where like say Captain America and Winter Soldier, and I like that show, but it does feel like a movie chopped up into 6 parts,
It
where
does.
this feels the opposite. It feels like 6 parts just stitched together in a movie. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, it's not quite there, you
It's what
know?
we're gonna get out of Ironheart, by the way, or not Ironheart. Armor Wars, I think they're calling it. They keep going off and on. It's gonna be that because it was a series. Now they're making it a movie. It's like that's gonna be just the show put together
Yeah.
as one. Um,
Well, I hope they learned something from it, because it doesn't look like I don't think this movie's going to completely bomb, but the box office hasn't been great for it.
my
I think
theaters
they're
were
gonna
pretty
learn
full
something.
though. I will say, like it. I've seen worse theater attendance. It was pretty filled, so that's pretty good.
Definitely, and mine was too. Mine was too. I'm just going off of like the big report that was
Yeah.
like, this isn't even gonna make Solo money on opening weekend, and I'm like, damn, that's pretty bad. Although
Right.
I will say I did go out to see Solo because I was like, I don't like that this isn't Harrison Ford, but like I want to see what happened to Han Solo, and I
Exactly.
wonder like, I don't know. Does Mando not work on a big screen? Solo. God, oh man, this sounds so confusing now. But like meaning him having his own movie, does it
Yeah.
not work? Like, what are your thoughts on like Mando and a movie?
Well, I think that's something that HBO needs to pay attention to as well because of the whole Game of Thrones thing. I think when people get used to watching on a streaming service, it's hard for them to make that leap into a theater. But because
Mhm.
it's a thing that like HBO is working about or talking about, Netflix wants to try to start doing, then okay, watch how Mando just did, and I'm not saying to do anything differently, frankly, but
Yeah,
adjust accordingly in your expectations because I don't want this performance to make it to where you don't get any more Mandalorian and Grogu. That'd be silly. Put it
yeah,
back on
yeah.
Disney Plus, or hell, make a couple more movies. I don't care. I'll still go watch them, but
Mhm.
don't make this. This is a learning opportunity. It's not a all is done kind of thing. So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And they better make more Mando and Grogu. Like
oh man,
there's
so
just so
good.
much they could do with these characters still. And but yeah, yeah, I don't know. I just wonder if the Mandalorian and Grogu is movie level storytelling.
Might not
Because
be.
I think the other thing that I realized about this is like, when you go to a Star Wars movie, the universe is so expansive, right? Like you always go to a new planet, you find a new enemy or something. There's something that makes you go, wow, this world, I've never seen that. I've never even heard of that, or
Yeah.
like, whoa, who's this character? And that wasn't there in this movie for me. It was like I'd
Not
seen the
really at all.
enemies.
Yeah.
Like even Embo was like, it was cool. Like I liked seeing Embo
His
there, but it was
silhouette
like,
is so cool. Just a shout out on that real quick. Embo's got the
mhm,
best silhouette of and then like with the wolf next to him, the dog. I'm like, dude,
yeah,
that guy he's meant to be drawn. Every time he's standing, I'm
yeah.
always like, that's a comic book cover right there, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But I still feel like I didn't get enough from him. I still
Yeah.
didn't feel like I learned anything about Embo or what Embo was supposed to teach Mando. Like yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I felt like there needed to be more world building as to like what, like even one little nod about how, what is it, the First Order? Like something in this show, or sorry, something in this movie that let us know about how the First Order comes to be. Just something, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't feel like a universe expanding movie for Star Wars. And I think we need that for
And I do
a
appreciate them
movie.
trying to keep the story small, but it has to have
Mhm.
ramifications that are large. And that's where I'm
Right.
saying you guys had the opportunity, all the parts were on the table, or all the pieces were on the table to make it to where Rada is now the new leader of the Hutts. If you did
Mhm.
that, then the ramifications of the story are huge. Because you guys didn't do that, we don't have any answers. And it's like you
Right.
guys were so close because then we're looking at like what are the Hutts doing during the sequel trilogy?
Right.
Well, they're ran by Rada. We don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And then if they are run by Rada, like what is a good mafia? But then also does that conflict with Boba Fett? I don't know. That's why it
No,
is
Boba Fett
maybe.
takes place before this because he's with the twins. He deals with the twins the whole time.
No, no, definitely. But he's running Tatooine, right? And if he's running
Oh yeah,
Tatooine and where the Huts used to run, does that also now run into the ability for Rada to then rule? I don't know. But they could figure it out, right? Like it's like if you're
yeah.
gonna put out a movie, like a Star Wars movie, like this stuff should be ironed out.
I think we're kind of cooking something here because if we had Rada running the Huts, Boba
Yeah.
running Tatooine, going
Hmm.
against the spice traders that are like we saw in the Maw series that just ended, like that whole the
Yeah.
crime syndicate
With the
there.
pikes and everything.
You got Pike, thank you. You got like warring crime syndicates. One of them we're actually rooting for the Huts, and that'd be
Hmm.
freaking cool. And Boba, there's something there, Disney. You guys, come on, help us out a little bit. I think it's
I
something there.
know. Yeah. Yeah. And this is still all to say that I really enjoyed it. I walk out
Exactly.
thinking like this is a 7 out of 10 for me. It's maybe a 7.5. Like I still thought the action was phenomenal. It's such
Yep.
he's such a cool character. Sorry, can I say one last thing though that didn't
No,
fit
you can't.
well? Yeah, I know I was like trying to wrap this up, but then I was like, wait, there's one thing because I guess it's a question for you.
Okay.
Like I love that they did this. Massive shout out to the creative team for this, for Pedro saying yes to this. But the fact that they had all three actors that play Mando, right? You got Pedro who is the voice, you got the one guy who does like all the body double stuff, and then you
Mhm.
have the one guy who does all like the stunt work, right?
It's not. Yep.
And all three of their names was on the credits list. I thought
Yeah.
that was super cool. But for me, it felt like there was three people playing Mando. It did not
Oh,
feel like
that's
it was one
yeah.
Mando. And that's another thing. Maybe
Hmm.
it's because I know too much, but for me, it felt like they were different people.
I will say on my side, I didn't think that at all going in or
Okay,
watching it. So,
cool.
but
What
yeah,
did
if I were to
you,
overthink it, if I were to like go in looking for it, I'd
maybe I
want
am
to see it.
overthinking it.
I don't mean to say
Yeah.
overthinking it, but you know what I'm saying? Like
No,
I
but
just
I
didn't
could.
think about it. But
No,
yeah.
but I 100% could be. I just wasn't like, I don't know, like it's sometimes the way he moved and stuff. I'm like, that doesn't, maybe it's because I've seen Pedro in too many things now. I'm like, that doesn't look like Pedro to me. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't, like he doesn't move. I don't know. Yeah. So maybe I was just overthinking it, but
Yeah,
anyways.
he definitely when he walks around, you're right. Now that I'm thinking about it, like the swagger, the cowboy swagger, that's not Pedro. That's I can't remember his name. I know Phil's
Timothy
just texted me about him
Oliphant.
too. No, it's not Timothy Oliphant, but it is the body double of his
Oh,
that wears
okay.
the
Yeah.
cowboy hat a lot. And it's not
Oh,
Dave
is that
Filoni. I
John
know.
Wayne's grandson, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember
Yep.
his name. I know I'm looking. I'm trying to look through my text right now, but Phil had just texted me about how he liked him because they just got out of the movie themselves. Um,
Nice.
so you're giving it a 7 out of 10? You said?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I feel like weird about it. I know it's not like
Yeah.
a strong 7 out of 10. I feel like
I would love for I want to hear what Jonathan says bringing Marco because I think for like a 5-year-old this movie's gonna be incredible.
okay.
So
So So, okay, great point. Because I did go see it with my friends who brought his kids. They
Okay,
were laughing the whole time, and that for me
that's
bumped it
perfect.
up. So,
Yeah.
like out of the theater, I gave it like an 8 because just hearing them laugh and
Yes.
enjoy it was like, oh man, this is Star Wars for them. You know?
Exactly. It's exactly. You need that to happen for this to keep going. It can't die with
Yeah,
us. We want
that's
Star Wars to
true.
go to the future. So until
Yeah.
lightsabers are real. I I'm
So true.
going so Squeaks out of what was this, blue Yoda cookies. He did 6 out of 10 blue Yoda cookies, and I did like a low 7. I'm giving it a 7, but I could see myself going to 6. I wouldn't hate it if I did.
Mm,
Um just because like the script I think was very flat. I think you're right. It was just smashed up episodes. To me, if you're like me, you probably watch too many videos about filmmaking and stuff like that and script writing. And one of the big things is it's not about then this happened, then this happened. It's like but and but and but. But this felt like it was all thens. So it was like
yeah.
just a
Yeah.
sequence of events, not countering each other the entire time.
Very true.
And so I was like, oh, that's too bad. That being said, had a blast in watching it just because it was Star Wars on the big screen and seeing AT-AT walkers blow up. It was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that
That's
part where
cool.
Grogu was like knocking on his helmet when the bombs are behind him. He's like, ding, 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 and then he looks back and he hits harder. Oh, I was
See,
cracking up so hard.
yeah, I think that's a yeah, okay, that was funny. See, there's just like times in this where it was funny, and I think that kind of saves it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
the part, I mean, this was just sweet, where like Rada's playing on the beach with Grogu, and they're
Yeah.
like just throw it splashing each other. You're like, oh, that's adorable. You
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, or like Grogu like destroys the little robot, like takes all his energy to destroy that little ass robot,
Yeah.
and he's like all pumped about it. You know, you're like, yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it has those
Grogu's
moments.
force is like Superman's strength. It's just enough, no matter what it is. And it's like
Yeah,
tearing that
yeah.
little robot is hard, but he also picked up Rada earlier or later on. So it's like
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
has enough force to where he's gonna be
Whatever the
swivel.
story needs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah.
Oh man. Let us know what you guys thought about both the Mandalorian and Grogu and the boys finale. From here on, we're going to be going into our interview with Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. Today, I'm joined by Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Frank?
I'm doing quite well. I have been excited to talk to you for a long time, as any listener of our show would know. You have an extensive library of work ahead, behind you, but next up is going to be returning to Uncle Iroh. Are you excited to see how fans have embraced your character and what you're trying to add to the show? Is there anything in particular you really wanted to add?
Yeah, no, I mean, season one was a bit, I think, a bit of a testing ground for the series because the fans were really kind of on edge because of the last iteration of Avatar
Yeah.
that hit the movie theaters, and I guess old wounds run deep. Completely different production company, different format. That was a feature film versus the miniseries or the television series that we were doing. But a lot of people, a lot of feedback was we were very unhappy with the first movie, so you guys better not screw this up.
Yeah.
And so there was kind of there were always nobody sets out to make a bad TV show.
Of course.
Nobody sets out to make a terrible movie, right? And so it was one of these things that was first and foremost on everybody's mind was we want to tell the best version of this story in a different way. Because you already had perfection in the animated series that had premiered on Nickelodeon.
Mhm.
That's where the fandom sort of grew from. And it's a tall order to do a live action adaptation of it. And what we really didn't want to do was a frame by frame, shot by shot sort of recreation
Yeah.
of the animated series. Because there's no point in that, right?
Right.
And so we really wanted to tell the story in an exciting way. We wanted to do service to the source material. We wanted the fans to be able to enjoy it. And we wanted to bring to life something that had only, existed in 2 dimensions. And, I think we won them over for the most part. I think a lot of fans really, really enjoyed it. You're never going to make everybody happy. But I think for the most part, it not only made the majority of fans happy, it also brought in new fans to the series, people who had never seen Avatar before, who were possibly too young or just gave it a pass. Watching the live action sort of made them curious about the animated series. And so, whenever you want to keep something relevant, you want to keep it alive, this is the way to do it, I think. Yeah, so season 2, we got greenlit for season 2 and 3, and it's the continuation of the story and the growth of the character, because there are so many great character arcs and redemption arcs and stories that go along the growth of Aang and the entire gang there, Zuko's redemption arc, Azula's journey, it's and Iroh's journey. It's all these things that are part of the mythos, and we were excited to get back to. And so for myself as Iroh, if you're a fan of the show, you already know what happens. There is a separation. Season 1, it's me and Zuko the entire way. Season 2, we go our separate ways. And so it's a different sort of shooting experience, because I got used to working with Dallas and I missed him a lot. A lot of our stuff was just separate, but I'm excited to see how the fans react to the continuation of that story. I think we won them over for season 1. I think they'll be very happy with season 2 and 3.
With season 2, Uncle Iroh kind of settles into who he actually is, and I think he kind of gets past the Fire Nation brand that's always been put upon him. Did you do any research on how Iroh changed and then also we had a change of actors too, with Mako going into Charles Baldwin, I believe, Greg Baldwin,
Greg.
Of course. Yeah. Did you do any research on how much he had changed over those 2 seasons?
Well, I'm a fan of the original series, so I watched it, right? And that I didn't do the deep cuts in terms of like reading any of the literature or going to the expanded universe beyond what was on the screen there. But I mean, because we were working off of these great scripts that came out of the writing room, and I really didn't want to. The stories were so sort of compacted because we only had X number of episodes to tell this entire expansive story. Mm-hmm. And whenever that happens, things get condensed, and you have to focus on, well, which part of the story do we really need to tell, and what's most important for the main journey that we're showing. So a lot of I think in my mind too, it's a bit unfortunate, but Iroh isn't the main character. His journey is great. And if you have the time, absolutely, inhabit that world, fill that character out. But with regards to the series, I mean, it's premiering June 25th. It's only 7 episodes. Season 1, we had 8 episodes. So there's even less time. And so, certain storylines, certain details, nuances have to go, have to be, cut. Yeah. And so that's not to say that there are great moments in it that fans will instantly recognize. That's not to say Iroh's entire storyline has been gutted, but it is an adaptation. Right. And there are certain themes that the television series explores that isn't in the cartoon series. And I think as an actor, that excites me, because we're giving the audiences something a little bit fresh, a different perspective. We're really looking at, in this case, and this was kind of glossed over in the animated series, but like Iroh coming to terms with the role he played during the siege of Ba Sing Se, right? Yeah. Like in the animated series, they mention it, but there's no reckoning for him. He's not faced really with the part that he played in it, and we play a little bit more with that in the series. And that's one of the strengths of an adaptation, is you get to explore these things that were maybe overlooked, or you take a different sort of view of actions that take place in the history of the story, and explore those instead, so that audiences, fans get something a little bit new, a little bit of food for thought. I know when I've gone to cons, I've gotten this comment. It's like, how come Iroh gets off scot-free? The guy's a war criminal, and he's done this, and this. Yeah. And it's like, well, okay. Yeah, I mean, we can debate whether he's a war criminal or not. Mm-hmm. Like, you can always have that debate, but there are certain themes that absolutely we will explore, and that Iroh has to come to terms with himself, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, it's doing your homework for me is learning the scripts, getting a better handle of the character, but doing the deep cuts of a character's history that might or might not be relevant to the story that we're telling, I think is if you have the time for it, great. But it really didn't serve my purposes in terms of helping me fill out who Iroh was when I was going to be playing him. These are fine details in the stitching that are wonderful if you can spend the time to go in there. But if it's going to be a long shot and you're just zooming by, some of those details get lost. And there are times, I believe, as an actor, we can overcomplicate things in our own heads and go too deep into the lore and miss the forest for the trees type thing.
And then you're probably trying to not necessarily just straight up make a copy, but also give new life to a character that existed already.
Exactly.
As a you're an avid Star Wars fan, so you know how fandoms work. When you're approaching Avatar, especially for that first season, and you're seeing how hungry the fandom is, have you found that overwhelming or welcoming? How much are you trying to distance yourself from that original fandom?
Yeah, the reason I'm doing the job is because that original fandom made it so. Without fans, things don't move on. It's just that's a fact.
Oh yeah.
And so you always want to do justice to the OG fans that sort of got you there. But at the same time, you have to be cognizant of the fact that what you are doing isn't going to land with all these OG fans.
Yeah.
That's a hard, fast rule of any fandom. You're never going to make every fan base completely happy. You aren't. There are always going to be those who are going to be oppositional, those who didn't like what you do, those who don't agree what you do. There'll be those who want to burn things to the ground just because, and so it's a really weird fandom can be tricky that way. And unfortunately, I believe that those kinds of fans, the negative ones, get the most attention, but they're the smallest group, right? Squeaky wheel and all that.
Exactly.
I think for the most part, fans who love something want to share it. They're supportive. They're not gatekeepy. They're not the actually crowd. They go out and they share it, and they want something that they love to grow, and they're excited, and they reserve judgment. Now, that's not to say you're not allowed to be critical. That's not allowed, you're not allowed to have discussions about the merits of whatever you're seeing. But I think true fans will give something an honest shot, watch it, talk about it, and have great conversations with other people who may disagree with their point of view and learn something and grow. I mean, that's what makes fandom fantastic for me. That's what I love. And I'm a fan of things too. So like, I miss those days where you could have a passionate argument with somebody and still be friends and not have to stoop to name calling or, like the scorched earth policy that is on social media now. And it's in politics, it's in everything that we do. I find so distasteful and so unproductive. And it is the worst of humans and of fandom. I miss the days where you could disagree and still have fun and still both go, hey, you know what? But we love this. And I'll think about what you said and it makes sense. I don't know if I agree with it, but I know where you're coming from. And I can respect you for doing that, right?
Yeah.
So knowing all this and stepping into this arena where everything that you're going to do is going to be examined through a microscopic lens can be daunting sometimes. But there are also times that I remember that, you know what? I can't worry about what other people are going to think of my performance. All I can do is my job. I need to compartmentalize that. Do your homework, do your job, play to the best of your abilities, make smart choices, make good choices, collaborate with everybody around you. It's not just actors making all the choices. There's writers, there's directors, there's producers, your fellow actors, the dynamic of a scene, all these things that are going on in order to collaboratively tell a story. These are all things that kind of keep me grounded, right?
Yeah.
But still, I mean, we're all human and we all want people to like our work. We all want to be validated for the stuff that we do. And it can be touch and go, and it can be very devastating when you pour your heart and soul into a role and you think you're doing a good job and then the fandom turns on you or somebody says you're crap or whatever. And it's, I think that's part of what we do. We're up there, we're in a public eye, we're going to get judged, right? And so on that hand, I can see how it can be very intimidating, and it can really pull people away, because if people are afraid of making mistakes, they're not going to be daring to make a bold choice.
Yeah,
they're not going to risk, high reward type thing. And when you get safe, boring choices, you get safe, boring TV or safe, boring storytelling. And I think the best forms of storytelling are when people can disagree with something and have those discussions, right? You want people to be talking about the work that you're doing.
Yeah, keeps
and
it
whether
alive.
they're debating it or praising it or even bashing it. That's kind of the job is out there is to create that sort of discussion around it. And so going into this arena too, yeah, like I've done Star Wars and I get it. And I've read some really nasty comments about me, about my work and stuff. But at the end of the day too, it's like I've also read some really great stuff about me and about my work. So it's all a matter of balance. Just knowing and being grounded and just knowing that, you know, you're not going to be able to please everybody. Take what you can use, but be confident that the work that I did for myself, I'm proud of. And so, you know, you just go that way. And anybody who takes the time to literally, to personally attack you, to get out and to do all this stuff and put it in these big things, honestly has no life. Yeah. Because if you're spending the time to tear somebody down, I feel sorry for you. I really, really do. I feel bad for people like that because you obviously have way too much time, and you're like, if your life is so unhappy that somebody's performance makes you mad or does this or that, and then you have to go on all the sites and you have to like get all that out. You need to find a different outlet. You need to find something healthier for you.
Something healthier for I mean, as somebody who you know does a lot of things, I never wanted my face to be on camera, but unfortunately, I love talking about geek stuff so much that it was happening. And so, there are comments where they live with you for a while, but you just got to know that, like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and clearly there are people who are enjoying it. I'm going to keep going, you know? So, yeah.
And the thing that makes me happy is like, okay, well, you're unhappy because I'm doing the thing I love. That's too bad for you.
Too bad for you.
Because I'm not going to stop doing the thing I love because you're unhappy, right? You do you.
Yeah.
So, good for you, man.
One of the things we talk about a lot around here is like, hey, don't bash the new version of something. This goes with Mario a lot lately. Don't bash the new version of it because it's the next generation's version of it. Yeah. And I like to think of 1985 Mario, but for my nephew, it's going to be the Mario that's in theaters right now. And if you bash it, it will go away. And that's the thing I like to think about with Uncle Iroh is like, yeah, of course, the original Uncle Iroh and Leaves on the Vine will still make me bawl. But for somebody out there, you are their Uncle Iroh. And it's just like, yes, that is so cool to hear, you know?
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, 100%. And that's the other thing too. It's just like, we forget sometimes because we are so, I mean, we're all very self-centered in a way anyways. And like our experiences shapes us. And so the nostalgia kicks in and that's our frame of reference and stuff. And, you know, it's that whole idea of as we grow older, sometimes the things that we love when we're kids, they don't grow either, right? Like we watch a movie that was made for kids in the 70s, like I'm talking Star Wars. Yeah. It was made for kids. We loved it, this and that. And we grow older and that movie still sort of stays. And then the prequels come out and everybody kind of like, you know, that generation loves it because that's their Star Wars. And then the older generation goes, oh, poo-poo. I'm the OG Star Wars, the original trilogy or nothing, right? And then the sequels and stuff. But like you said, absolutely, that is somebody's gateway into that universe. And they'll always, always hold it dear in their heart. And, you know, when you cannot make that connection and kind of go, these new iterations are to keep this franchise or this kind of storytelling alive, and you kind of and get mad. I question that sometimes because it's like, it's not like the original trilogy or the original thing is going to be gone. Right. It hasn't been destroyed or that's it. It's just this new stuff now. It's still going to exist there. And I always take it one step further because, you know, when something new is coming out, people want to, and this baffles me, people want to crap on something before they've even seen it. Like they see a little bit of it and they make snap judgments. They go, it's going to suck. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And then they go on this crusade to make sure that nobody else watches it or whatever, which baffles me because it's like, well, we all know all the haters, they're going to watch it anyway because they can't help themselves. Yeah. And that's what bugs me the most. If you hate something that much that you're going to spend so much time slamming it and trying to dissuade people to watch it, and then you watch it anyways, what are you doing? Don't be a hypocrite. Then put your money where your mouth is. Don't watch it. But here's the thing. If you don't watch it, you can't talk smack about it. Yep. Right? 100%. That's the thing. So I find it, you know, it's such a waste of energy.
It is.
It is such a waste of energy to do stuff like that. So doom and gloom and expect the worst, this and that. I find that so boring.
It is.
It's so boring.
You mentioned conventions earlier, and I got to tell you guys, if you're a fan of something, go to the conventions because that is something where like people are willing to spend money and drive out to something. They're going to be a fan of it. And it's just a place to connect with fans and of course, meet some amazing people like yourself. So yeah, check out the Comic Cons near you guys. The little, small ones are great too.
Oh, the small ones are best.
Yeah.
The vibe out there and the atmosphere, and I like the pace of it as well. The big ones you can get a little bit swept up and lost sometimes, right? And you spend all your time just waiting in lines.
Exactly.
And the smaller ones, especially if you're new to cons, small cons are great because you'll make some really great connections, and you'll meet fellow-minded nerds and people like you.
It's the best. Yeah. I bet BlizzCon's one of my favorite conventions. It's a big one, but I was with a friend of mine, and I was like, hey, let's go sit down and we'll share a table. Like, oh, I don't want to share a table with somebody else. I'm like, they spent $200 to get into the door, man. They're gonna have similar interests to you. Let's go meet new friends. And sure enough, it worked out great.
Amazing.
Yeah. We talked about Star Wars a little bit, and you're Captain Carson Teva, of course. We have so much going on in the world of Star Wars with Mandalorian and Grogu coming up. Can you tell us if you're in that movie or not at all? Even a little cameo?
I can't. Everybody keeps asking, but everybody knows the answer. If you ask anybody who isn't in the trailer, everybody signed NDA. So even if I was or I wasn't, the answer is going to be I can't say anything about it.
Exactly. If I didn't ask, though, I'd be getting DMs. So I have to at least ask. Yeah. Speaking of Carson, to me, he feels very much like the Nick Fury of the modern Star Wars. Do you feel like Star Wars needs that character to kind of be the grounded, average Joe, no lightsaber, no force, to keep things moving forward?
Yeah, those are characters. I find it really interesting because people, audiences, fans like characters like that just because these kinds of characters are kind of their gateway, like the everyman or the every person that is just a person who is there, lives in that universe. And I think that that's a great anchor point for them, because as much as we all want to fantasize that we have Jedi powers or this or that, not everybody does. And not everybody can be the main character either, right? And I think there's something more relatable about these kinds of characters, especially for the audience to kind of go through. Oh yeah, I totally do that if I was there. If that were me, I'd be like that too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to sort of play a character like that. Of course, Carson didn't start off that way. He just kind of became that, and I'm all here for it. Really, really happy to represent in that way. The character's been compared to Nick Fury. The other one is Agent Coulson. From Marvel, and R2D2 is another one. Somebody's at a con. I remember during a panel discussion, little girl came up and said, I think you're more like the R2D2 of the series. Like you're in all the connective sort of shows, and you're there and you play a role in it, not a major role, but you play a role in it, which is really cool. And when people see you, they recognize you, and they're all very happy to see you. Yeah. So that fills my heart.
Yeah. And like you're saying, you're kind of the narrator, the stand-in for us, where it was like, hey, even being a pilot would be really cool, but like this guy's standing amongst, demigods kind of. So it's just cool to imagine to be you. So that's really neat to be your character. You've always been a Star Wars fan for a long time. When you talk about the 70s Star Wars, what is it that you wanted to bring from that old school Star Wars into the modern universe?
Oh, wow. Well, first and foremost, I just wanted to fit into the universe,
Okay. Yeah.
It's one of those things where this is a franchise I watched I've been a fan of since I was 5 years old. Going, my dad taking my sister and I to see it in movie theaters, and then, watching Empire Strikes Back with my babysitter, and then Return of the Jedi. My sister and I were old enough to go to the theaters on our own. I collected toys, read the books, the comics, all this stuff. As you can see, I've got a few
very nice setup
Star Wars toys. Yeah. And so it's something that is a universe that I'm very, very intimately familiar with. And I just wanted to make my character believable. Like he's been there, like he's inhabited it. One of the wonderful things about the Star Wars universe is that it's lived in. Everybody says it's lived in, it's worn. Nothing's shiny and brand new. Everything's been used. And I wanted my character to sort of convey that. Somebody who fought during the rebellion, who's been around the block a few times. He's a vet. And he can see the writing on the wall. He knows the Empire is reforming. And so he wants to, he's started to connect the dots and whatnot. And, that little slice of the pie that I got, I just wanted to make sure he felt like he belongs there. He belongs there. And I think, I had a lot of, it's very funny. I read a lot of comments where people thought I was actually in the original trilogy. So I
It
mean,
just
for me,
looks
that's
so
that's
accurate, though. Is
yeah,
why.
and that's for me is the biggest compliment, right? And
Yeah.
it's probably the mustache, right? And stuff. But it's that whole sort of look of some of the pilots were just a little bit heavier, a little bit older, and they, it's
More
like
real.
that's
Yeah.
they're real people. They're not like chiseled models
Mhm.
who look like they stepped off of a magazine shoot. I mean, yes, absolutely, there are pilots out there who fit that Top Gun mold, who
You're
look,
right.
physically fit and whatnot, but they're all, in the Star Wars universe, you have all kinds of shapes and sizes and ages and looks and species and whatnot. And so I was very, very happy to sort of go in there, do my bit, and inhabit that in a way that was believable. And that's what I wanted to bring. I wanted to bring some of that gravitas as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I really loved about a movie like Rogue One, for example, was the fact that it really sort of brought the scale of the rebellion into perspective. And the fact that it wasn't, like in the original trilogy, it was like a plucky group of adventurers who rise above the challenges and defeat the Empire. It's like you looked at how the sausage was made and how fractured the rebellion was and how they were just regular people who were terrified and angry and upset with the corruption of the Empire and this and that. And that's what it was a little bit more grounded in reality. And, that's kind of what I wanted Carson Teva to be, this guy that is grounded in the reality and something that is relatable for audiences to sort of go in and go, yeah, I recognize this guy. I know this guy. I agree with this guy. He just happens to be in the Star Wars universe. Yeah. And that, for me, that's what the Mandalorian series was about. Before they started bringing in legacy characters, it was just about, it was a Western, basically, about a bounty hunter. And it was set in the Star Wars universe. And you didn't need to know who Luke Skywalker was or Han Solo or Darth Vader. You just needed to know this is the universe, right? And it could have been transplanted anywhere. And that's what I really, really enjoyed about playing Carson Teva, was it was that sort of, I went in with that mentality. And that's the mentality that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and all the other writers wanted for the character. Like he's kind of like a beat cop, or in my mind, he was more like a Texas Ranger in the Old West and whatnot. And so, that's what I wanted to bring to it.
When you're near somebody like Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni, do you ever want to pick them for the lore that they're building behind the scenes?
Yeah, 100%. Right? I mean, they're. I mean, I idolize those two, really, because they're. And I think why fans love them so much is because they know and they wear their fandom on their sleeves too. Mm-hmm. They want to recreate and they want to share their experiences, what they love about Star Wars, with everybody else. But it's also grounded in a sense of like not doing fan service for the sake of it. Like they know storytelling, they know all these, they bring their incredible talents to the table. It is absolutely, like, I remember having 1,000 questions that I asked Dave about Carson Teva. And Dave was just very like, it's a big universe. We don't know. Those are great questions. We don't know the answers yet. We're still going along. They don't have, all the answers for these characters because they want to see where the story takes them. And if you narrow it down too much, then you limit what you can do with that character. And I think with all writing rooms, with all new characters, with all these unestablished characters, you need to keep it open-ended so you can go in those different directions if the story requires it. Now, there's certain characters you can't really do that to. They've been well established. Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, but I think everybody else is kind of they want to, they want it a little bit fuzzy on the margins, so they have room to play.
That's funny because it's the sentiment you always hear from like very good fantasy authors as well, where they like let the characters in the story kind of develop itself out as they're going along. And it's neat to hear that Star Wars is done that way right now. That's a pretty amazing. I want to also talk about Kim's Convenience. It's where actually I was first introduced to you, and we have a segment on our podcast at the end every week where we do a recommendation. And multiple weeks, my brother Jonathan, who joins us, I was like, "You got to watch Kim's Convenience, guys. It's so good." And so finally bit the bullet, and I was in love with Appa, of course. I know he was the inspiration for Appa was your father, your uncle, your grandfather, and my relatives were Portuguese. We came from Portugal, but there was something there that I just saw within myself of like, yeah, these customs you bring over, the community you find within your own culture or within like the church and things like that. Kim's Convenience was really special for my family, and I'm having everybody else watch it as well. Is there something in particular that you're really proud of in that series that still stands the test of time?
Oh, I mean, all of it. The fact that, for example, everybody watches it and they can see their families in it is something that really, really fills me with a lot of pride because, I mean, obviously it's Kim's Convenience. It's about a Korean family living in Toronto. And it's one of those things where we're so specifically Korean that it becomes universal.
Yeah.
And so people from any background, they can go, I'm not Korean, but I recognize this guy because he's like my dad or he's like my uncle or like my grandfather. And one of the beautiful things about the Kim family is the cultures might be specific, but the relationship and the emotions between family is universal. You understand the dynamic between father and daughter and father and son and mother and father and husband and wife and all these things. They are so familiar because the core root of all of this, all of the struggles is embedded in love.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I love about Kim's Convenience. Like during the pandemic, I think Kim's really had a coming out party because people were just so tired of the horrors of what was going on that they needed an authentic sort of genuine, lovely comedy for people to watch and to sort of grow together. I love that families watched the show together, from like little kids to grandparents. There was something for everybody. And there aren't very many shows that can do that. And so immensely proud of the work that I did on it, that a lot of, that all my cast members did on it, the opportunities that it afforded all of us afterwards, the fact that it gave all of us an opportunity to showcase our talents, and sort of put us on the map. I mean, you know, one of us became a Marvel superstar.
Oh yeah,
right?
Simu.
So,
oh my god, yeah.
without Kim's Convenience, he doesn't get that shot type thing. So it's there's so many things that I'm so proud about for Kim's Convenience, and most of all the fact that like we all did really good work on it.
Yeah,
you know, there were like a lot of things when Kim's was first being promoted. A lot of people were like, I don't know, this looks like shit. It might be like looks racist, you know, and people were ready to just destroy it based completely unseen. And so it's very funny that now it's a beloved television series that it's now 6 years since the show ended, and I still get, we love Kim's Convenience. We watch it as a family. That is for me something that is tremendous, something I'm tremendously proud of.
Yeah, yeah. And the stories, I feel like we're just getting, I don't want to say just getting good, but that's kind of what I'm thinking of. Like, I was really interested if we got one more season to explore Janet's sexuality. I think was something that was coming to the forefront. And I know you had worked on this for a long time. 2005, there was a production that you were working with a playwright. But if we could get a little bit more, is there anything in particular you wanted to explore? I know that it's done, but still.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were greenlit for season 6. We were supposed to do a season 6 when the wheels fell off the wagon. And there's a lot of hard feelings, I think, around that. Not for me. Like I'm very philosophical about it now, and I've moved on, and I'm tremendously grateful for everything that I've gotten from the show. I would have loved for the show to go on for another 10, 20 seasons, right? Like I would have loved that.
Yeah.
But you know, life is like that. Sometimes you don't get what you want, which is fine. But the thing is, that was a really, really interesting storyline. I think Andrea was very, very interested, and she's the one that actually kind of like was spearheading that and wanted to explore that dynamic. I really would have loved to have been able to explore the reconciliation between Jung and Appa.
Yes.
You know, that is something that in the play you get. And Kim's Convenience was based off of a play. And so, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the play, there is a reconciliation at the end. And it is so powerful and so beautiful and so absolutely heartbreaking, but wonderful at the same time. That's what I'm upset for the fans for that, because they never got that. And so that would have been a lot of fun, because, you know, in the play, it ends on that reconciliation, but there's still so many more stories that you can draw from, like, post-reconciliation. Because it's not like, oh, okay, everything's great now, we made up. It's like, no, there's still more of a struggle because there's a lot of baggage still to unpack, and they may be talking to each other, but they're still going to fight.
Yeah.
There's still going to be disagreements because those two are so much alike.
Exactly.
They don't want to admit it, right? And so these are all things that I think really, really would have been rich story grounds to explore stories on, but we'll never know, which is unfortunate. But I've always said this too, always leave the audiences wanting more. I mean, better to go out this way than to sort of like, we're out of ideas and you're just running out the clock and the quality of the storylines go down. And, you're like, oh, this show should have ended like 3 seasons ago. Like, go out on top. If you're going to go out on top. And that's my philosophy behind it.
Yeah.
But Kim's Convenience was a show I loved doing. Still love the show. And still very grateful.
Still holds up, guys. And if you have not watched it for whatever reason, please check it out. It's just, especially today, it's a little bit of hope core you could use. It's really nice. And I like to imagine that Kim's family is still doing well up in Toronto with the store open up. And it's a beautiful story. All right. So if you're open for it, because we're running short on time here, I have 3 rapid fire questions for you. You down for these?
Let's go.
All right. Go. First off, Simu is in the MCU. If you could join the MCU, is there any particular character that you're really interested in trying to play?
No. You know what, though? I've always wanted to work with Benedict Wong. So, I mean, anything that just sort of hang out with him, or even Randall Park with the FBI, that'd be good. I don't know if I'd want to be a super or to have any powers. I kind of like playing the everyman guy, but that'd be really cool to do.
Okay, I got a pitch for you. This is totally off topic now. He's trying to learn magic because he like the trick that Ant-Man did. And so how cool would it be if you were like the magic shop owner that he keeps going to for tips and tricks and stuff like that? And so you have like this little shop, kind of Kim's Convenience-y, and you're teaching him all these little magic tricks. So he can hold up to Doctor Strange.
Right.
We know the White Lotus, of course, is part of Avatar, but it's also a very successful series. If you're to join White Lotus, what's the one destination you'd want to go to?
Honestly, I've never watched a single episode of the White Lotus.
Oh, man, there we go. That's my recommendation for you.
I know. So that's a tough one. Walton Goggins, I'm a huge fan of his work, but I know the last one was set in Thailand. But not under those circumstances would I want to go. Yeah. Because I know that's a loaded question. So I'm gonna defer on this one and kind of go. I can't in good conscience answer that with any sort of level of competency.
All right. Well, hopefully we see the other White Lotus very soon, but I'm not going to ask. Captain Carson, he does very good in Star Wars. I'm wondering how he would do in Star Trek. If Carson was to join Star Trek, what rank do you think he would be? A science officer, a security officer, or command?
I think he'd be in command.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a commander. I don't know if he'd be he might make it to the captain of a starship, but like he kind of likes working. He's used to working alone.
Okay.
And so I think, the highest rank he'd get to be like would be a full commander. But I think he'd also get in a lot of trouble because he likes to play. Well, it depends on who's commanding officer is, but like to the letter of law, the prime directive for him is more of a suggestion. I think he's a man of morality.
Yeah.
And I think if something feels like it's right, he'll do it. Or if he knows that it's right, and in that case, he's not that much dissimilar to Picard or to Kirk or any of the other, or Janeway or Cisco or any of these other fine commanders who sort of use a prime directive as more of a suggestion.
Yeah.
than absolute law.
I wonder how he would do. I think maybe Deep Space Nine is probably his best avenue because it is a little less teamy and you have these avenues where individual people can have their own stories a little more. That might be his best spot. That's a good one. All right. Well, Paul, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to make sure everybody's heading over to Netflix right now to check out Avatar: The Last Airbender. Season 1, of course, is available now, and Season 2 is June 25th. Paul, it has been an absolute delight. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me on, Frank.
All right, that's our interview with Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. Make sure you guys are checking out Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 on Netflix late June. He's going to be playing Uncle Iroh. Let's go over the network. So right now, Distance Learning, they just got back from Gem State. We talked about that a little bit. They have a bunch of panels they've been putting out. If you guys want to hear from Doctor Who. You guys want to hear about Firefly, about anime voiceover work. They have a lot of really good interviews coming out, so make sure you guys are tuning in for those. Over at Fandom Portals, they just did a deep dive into Maul and Anakin and kind of comparing the two storyline, and it's really interesting hearing about Maul and like his isolation and how that's affected him and how he's constantly looking for companionship, and it was a really good deep dive. Outlast Podcast just finished season 13, and the huge controversial moment during the live episode of Survivor where Jeff accidentally spoiled a major thing while he was talking, and so the host of the show almost ruined the show, and it was pretty amazing. It was really fun.
Whoa.
Yeah, a lot of drama over there, and that was a blast. So make sure you guys check that out. And then that is, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the network right now. What is your recommendation for the week?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with this. I should have given it a shot a long time ago, but it might be. It is like, to me, Christopher Nolan-esque storytelling with like the Matrix level fighting. And I'm super late to the party. People probably already know it, but Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm now on season 3. God dang, that show is phenomenal. I didn't like season 1. To be honest, I didn't even like it up until episode 6 of season 1.
Yeah.
But my friend was like, "You got to watch it. Like, stick with it. It gets so good. It gets so good." Season 2 is some of the best, not even like storytelling. I mean, it is. It's some of the best storytelling and some of the dopest fights I've ever seen. It is so freaking cool. Yeah, so
I need to
Jujutsu
finally
Kaisen.
watch it because my friend Daniel, he names like all his video game characters off of that show, and his main
Dude.
is from that show. I believe Taguro, right, is from there. I don't know if you've come across Taguro.
Possibly, yeah.
I think it's Jujutsu Kaisen. It might be a different one. He has a bunch of different character names, but like his main one, I think, is from that too. So I do need to watch it at some point. That's a really good shout out.
Lord, man, there's this fight with like a bloodbender, and yeah, the way that they use that power is insane. It's like a slow moving laser beam that just he like drags. Oh god, it is insane. It's so good. Just get to season 2. Whatever you got to do, it's phenomenal.
I've got 2 recommendations for you guys. First one is I want to make sure you guys are tuned into Spider Noir. It actually came out after this episode aired, but we're recording it beforehand, so we don't have a chance to watch it yet. We'll review it in the future. Spider Noir, it's on Prime. It's got Nicolas Cage. It's gonna be a blast. The other thing is over on Hulu, it just finished up, is The Testaments. If you guys are like me and you like Handmaid's Tale, Testaments is the sequel to that, and it's a younger generation. It has a very different vibe. I hate to say this, but it does have a bit of a CW-ification to it, but it is very good, and it really still addresses kind of the problems that existed in Handmaid's Tale in that world, and they still kind of exist, and yeah, they're even more subtle with it, so you have to really kind of, it's a smarter show than Handmaid's Tale in some degree, so make sure you guys enjoy that. It's not smarter, I didn't want to say, it is still girls being like gossipy, it's very CW in that way, but it's good. Make sure you guys check that out. It's called The Testament.
Man, Chase Infinity's in it, so for that alone, I want to watch it. Because damn,
a star, yeah, for sure.
She's incredible.
She is incredible. And I think that's it, recommendation-wise. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Aloha.